Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I'm your host with the most, the man with the plan. I'm out of rhyming things. I'm Chad Boyle. Joining me as always is the glorious one, Marcus Green. Marcus, how the heck are you? Did I lose Marcus already?
Muted myself. Vintage. Classic.
Vintage Marcus. Off the top rope.
It's hitting to continue with the rhyming thing down here. Us Louisianans are experiencing temperatures in the 60s. So right now I'm the man with the small fan.
I always have a fan on. It's a combination of I run too hot and I have minor tinnitus. Yes! Fun factoids about chat.
At least you're aware. Yeah.
Yes. I don't like the quietness because I just hear. I always thought people always had that sound. Nope. Just like I thought everyone saw a bit of a glare when they looked at streetlights with glasses on.
It is so. That is such a weird. You never get used to that.
Mm-mm.
You never get used. It's random as hell, and like you said, it is scary. I don't know way you could explain it to somebody. It's ringing, but that's still not really it still don't encompass what it actually feels like.
You're never truly alone with tinnitus.
I will never get money for this commercial.
Are you alone? Do people hate your face? Are you unbearably able to stand in the same room as someone else? Do people plot your demise?
If you think you might have just a little tinnitus.
Well, with tinnitus, you're never truly alone. Enjoy the soft ee for the rest of your life. All you need to do is jam a hairpin into your ear. I was so lonely before I had tinnitus, but now I never go to sleep again. Thanks, tinnitus.
You and your fellow tinnitus mate is in bed, and you make a little face when the ring is going off, but you took some type of medicine, so it's like happy tinnitus. Because that's the point of the commercial.
I always used to be an angry drunk, but then I started drinking with tinnitus, and now I don't even care. Ask your doctor if tinnitus is right for you. Yeah, thankfully I have a very mild form, like Archer from the show Archer. So I'm not too worried about it. My hearing is actually quite good, which is shocking and ironic. It's far better than my vision.
Always goes that way, don't it?
Right? That's how it is. So we only have 3 topics this week, but they're big topics, and they're girthy. Why did you bring up Blacked all of a sudden, Marcus? It's a joke, which is fun, because I don't even watch the product. But it's still a fun joke to make.
Still thinking about old Lashley, how he got the pun intended screwed out of the title. But
Well, you could say he got blurbied. I mean, I wouldn't, but you could. So, 3 topics. They're girthy topics, though. Ring of Honor Ring of Honor is all elite. That was my favorite thing, was seeing the Ring of Honor logo with is now elite.
No,
like
dude.
All the other signings.
Shout out to whoever that was like the ROH dudes in the audience, and it was like somebody else.
Oh yeah. They did the WrestleMania 17 shot of like Lance Storm, Bill DeMott, Mark Jindrak, Sean O'Haire, like the WCW guys, and then they posted the Ring of Honor.
But the weird thing is not that far off, because apparently they didn't know until we did.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised about that.
It's like, oh well, Ring of Honor's been conned. Yeah.
We also have, of course, Revolution to talk about. I don't know how much you saw, but I saw quite a bit, and I have some thoughts. We may not go through every match, but I have some thoughts.
I literally watched I saw up until I think the last 2, up until your boy the Icons match, and then obviously the last part was the Hangman and the Thinner.
Yeah, I didn't. Thinner. Yeah, you didn't need to watch the main event. I know everyone's like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is wrestling. Fight forever. Let's go, Adam's." Like, all right, it wasn't that entertaining of a match. Adam Cole's like a salamander on land. Oh, we get it. You're moving. That's fun, but you're also the size of a snowflake. And you have the hairline of Shawn Michaels, and you try to have the moveset of Shawn Michaels, only like you're 140 pounds, and I don't believe you could kick the crap out of a fucking toddler, let alone Adam Page. Like, all right, whatever, Adam Cole.
It's like where I'm from, this is considered buff. I'm like, you need to call Doctor Strange and tell him to rework that spell. You need to go to a new verse.
Like, are you from like the same house as the Young Bucks? Because if you've only ever seen those other two men, then yes, I could see how you would think you were buff.
It's like, no, the Chad's like, no, I get it now. The Thinners.
How are they still calling themselves the Young Bucks? Brother, nothing about your hairline or your beard or your doughy body is giving me the vibe that you're quote unquote young.
It's the spirit, Chad. It's got to be the spirit.
It's not even the spirit because those two dudes look haggard. Like, I look at Bobby Fish and I go, that dude's like 32. He's like 109.
But they brought in Matt Hardy and no, we still young in spirit. Like, he's old.
I mean, granted, they had a co-headliner with a 62-year-old, so like I get it, young is subjective, but still, it's not. We also have Impact's No Surrender. I don't know how much of that you saw. I saw all of it.
Oh, I saw all of that. Hey man, Impact. Get one of them golf claps. Hell of a show. Even the pre-show was good. Shout out to Lady Frost and who's this? Giselle.
Mm-hmm.
Killed it.
Yeah, it's hard to deny that Impact had a really good show. And like, honest to God, I was genuinely thinking they're not gonna put the belt on Heath, are they? And then there was a part of me that was like, yep. I kind of want to see that now.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Like obviously, like Heath and Cardona are two particular guys, but Heath's like way further up my likable list than Mid Cardona because like
absolutely.
He put a hell of a match. Like he really looked like a very a guy you can root for in an underdog position. Like that was a really good match for the story that they were trying to do. Shout out to Santino. I didn't recognize him at first either. I'm like
who's this flock of seagulls looking fucker?
Like who's this particularly handsome looking? Oh, the dude that say John Cena.
John Cena.
You say John Cena.
Who's this Italian-looking flock of seagulls-looking motherfucker? And I ran so far away, couldn't get away. So let's start with the news of Ring of Honor. We're going to chop these up into little segments, I think. Yeah. That way we can see get more play, I think. Let me just kind of put this here. Okay. Let's see what we're at. We're at 8. We'll say 9. We'll say 9 even. That'll work. So, with the big news, I put AEW to Ring of Honor. It's supposed to be Ring of Honor to AEW. It'll make sense later. Ring of Honor is now all elite. And we sat here last Monday. What could it be? And I flat out said the only thing that makes sense for this level of secrecy is a purchase. Because contracts don't have, not non-competes, what the fuck is it called? A gag order, unless there's an acquisition in place. Because they're trying to make sure that there isn't any type of fuckery with purchases. Like, for instance, if Marcus and I are both trying to buy the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, and Marcus goes into discussions to purchase it, they'll have essentially a gag order in some cases because what they don't want is once a deal is in place and you have to work out the particulars, somebody to come in and fuck with the negotiations. That's not always the case, but in when you're dealing with a product the size of Ring of Honor, that's exactly the case at hand. Like, you don't want people to undermine or try to screw you out of a deal, especially when a handshake deal is made. And now basically what happens is you sit down and say, we'll sell to you for $35 million. Okay. But then it comes with the, well, you know, what are we looking at for the length of purchase for how, you know, how long we have to pay it back? Do you guys have any intentions on using X amount of hours of property for the next foreseeable future? Because if they intend on still airing the show, as Sinclair has pretty much said, like, you know, they still intend on producing the television series, and their next set of tapings in April, I think, are going to create more television product. How long is that going to be good for? How long can they air commercials on their network for that? You know, what contracted talent, you know, or behind the scenes talent or Sinclair adjacent talent, how long are their contracts and when can they? There's so many minor bits that need to be worked out beyond just, I want to buy the product. And that's usually when the non-compete comes in, or not the non-compete, the basically the gag order comes in, so you can work all that out without the pretense of possibly being outbid while you're negotiating the deal. So as soon as they said that, like, I can't talk about this illegally yet, I was like, it's a purchase. And Marcus, I said last week, it's a purchase. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if they bought Ring of Honor, because that just makes a lot of sense. Were you shocked that I was as spot on as I was in my prediction?
As long as we've known each other now through the interwebs, it's rarely am I shocked of you being wrong. This kind of stuff. I think it was more so me.
Rarely are you shocked about me being right?
That depends on the day, but really, but when it comes to stuff like this, like, I know, you know, there's a, you know, you've seen this stuff many times, and then, you know, you're connected. So yeah, and plus you're right. I mean, the level of secrecy, specifically when somebody like Khan, who kind of has the disposition oftentimes of certain stuff like an actual child.
Isn't he like 42?
Yeah, and I didn't even watch him announce it. Apparently, that was a interesting way he announced it. But yeah, I mean, I think I was just kind of holding out hope that, you know, for a little bit they could kind of make a comeback. But, and we even talked about this on the show, they kind of had bungled stuff so bad behind the scenes. This was all, I mean, the minute it happened, this was almost inevitable. So, you know, it's kind of, it is what it is. You know, it's I guess some mild irony that, you know, a lot of that thank you all race video came from a lot of guys that now, ironically, somebody like CM Punk and others were in AEW. Like, a lot of that thank you situation in that Goodbye Ring of Honor video were from people in AEW, and now they're literally owned by AEW. So, you know.
Going forward, I think, is the interesting thing, because it's not just going to be a streaming property that they bought to launch an eventual, you know, AEW streaming promotion or what have you. I think this is an actual attempt to get Ring of Honor either on TBS or replace one of the YouTube shows with it and have it tour, but also have it serve as a developmental brand. And I think that's like the perfect thing for Ring of Honor, because that's how it's been treated essentially for 15 odd years. A lot of people always kind of suggest, like, oh, well, Cody and AEW killed Ring of Honor. No, not really. Ring of Honor invested a lot of money into guys for a very short period of time to try to get them into a different place. And it didn't work, because even at the height of Ring of Honor's run in 2013, 2014, 2015, they weren't doing well. You know, they were not a very watched product. I know a lot of people like to thumb their nose at Impact, but a lot of Impact is viewed nowadays via the internet. So, like, looking at, you know, 110,000, 160,000 people watching it on Access TV really isn't a fair criteria for what they're doing. When you look at Ring of Honor, they've always ever been on syndicated television, which is in 2022 unheard of. Any successful show, product, entity on any type of syndication really isn't successful. So I don't really see how they could have been. The only thing that was saving them was the fact that Sinclair was loaded. They had billions of dollars. But the problem came when they tried to create a Bally Sports digital media streaming service and sunk something like $750 million into it at a loss. And then they had to bring up, I think it was like $1.5 billion in, what the fuck is it called? In extra revenue. They had a campaign for it and got it from various different outlets, from like, the hell is it called? I know the term. It's escaping me at the moment. Like lending banks. I forget what they're called. But they had to raise, like, I think $1.5 billion in capital just to get the streaming service back on track. So they lost a huge chunk of their money on this streaming service. And the streaming service's failure is exactly why Sinclair did what they did with Ring of Honor. It wasn't because Ring of Honor itself was getting beaten by AEW. It wasn't because Ring of Honor itself wasn't making enough money to turn a profit. It wasn't because Ring of Honor itself wasn't a problem. It was because of the streaming service that their parent company launched and failed, or didn't even get around to launching. So investment capitalism, investment capitalist banks, that's what I was thinking of. That's who they had to raise money. So the failure of the Bally streaming service, and it still hasn't even launched yet, and there are no plans to launch it in the immediacy, is why Sinclair gave up on Ring of Honor, because they had to cut costs somewhere. So knowing that Ring of Honor, excuse me, in its own essence wasn't a failure is a big boon for Tony Khan, because Ring of Honor has been successful. Moderately, but still successful. What happens next is going to be very interesting, because I could see it on YouTube, like I said before. I could see it on TBS. I could see it going to another Turner channel, but I don't know what other Turner channels there are. I guess I can look that up right now. Marcus, would you like to see it on TBS? Do you think that's a possibility, like a Saturday night show, or maybe replace Rampage with it?
I don't know. I don't know yet. Actually, I don't hate Rampage at all. I think it's, like I said, that we talked about it, like that just 1 hour, get back to watching wrestling for an hour, like, NXT of old was kind of refreshing. You get in, you get, do what you got to do, and you get out of there. Because even something as good as, Impact and like MLW, hours of it can be daunting, on a weekly basis. But I don't know. Like, I think they're probably still figuring it out. Like, I think more than anything, I think, like you said, like a feeder system or something like that for it. Not like they necessarily need a place to garner more talent to the roster now, but it could be a place to kind of develop some of the talent that they might not be using on TV. So I think that's probably the most concrete idea right now. I don't know about getting on TV. I know obviously locking in that library is a significant thing considering who's on their roster, but I don't know yet. I think I'm still in the whole fog of it kind of being dissipated. I think for me, I'm trying to figure out like what's going to become of these championships that's still out here being defended elsewhere.
And the champions.
Exactly.
So there are a few outlets that if they don't go with TBS, because I don't see them going to TNT if they have Ring of Honor. If they're sticking with the Turner Broadcasting conglomerate, True TV is an outlet. They could go to True TV, and it would kind of make sense. I think True TV even had pro wrestling at one point, or were in talks to land Impact.
I'm about to say, did Impact get on there? Like,
no, they're on Discovery, Pop, and what was it? Pursuit.
Destination America.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Not Discovery. It was Destination America. Oof. So I could see Ring of Honor going to True or staying on TBS. I could also see them canceling Dark Elevation and doing a Ring of Honor TV show. I don't see them adding a fifth show. I think that would be a lot, even if it's under the Ring of Honor banner. So I could see them just kind of sticking with, the four and finding Ring of Honor a place within those four. That being said, the idea of running it as a developmental brand is a good idea. Obviously, John Gresham's not sticking around because he's not a developmental guy. But like, I think of guys like Hook or Brian Pillman Jr., the Acclaimed, the other tag team that just came back on Dynamite the other night, the Brothers. I forget what their names. One of them was out for a while. They could fit well on there. Arn Anderson's kid could fit well in a new Ring of Honor. There's certainly a lot of depth to this roster that could benefit from being on the road, 300 days a year wrestling as a developmental brand. I think that's a good way to go. I think it's the right way to go, and I think it makes sense. And while we're talking about it, I hope one day Impact just buys OVW.
Yeah, because yeah, you're right. That is still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I've not seen that narrative of all the times, because all the times Impact was supposed to be bought or shut down. It's Ring of Honor that gets taken up, and meanwhile Impact's celebrating 20 years.
Well, that's the thing that I kind of wanted to mention real fast. During Tony Khan's whole spiel, he mentioned that Ring of Honor's first show was called The Era of Honor Begins. And Marcus, that was 20 years to the day on February 23rd, 2 weeks ago. Maybe not even two weeks ago. Let's see. That was 2 Wednesdays ago. So he made the announcement on the 2nd, and the week prior to Tony Khan announcing he bought Ring of Honor, was their 20th anniversary. Jesus, come July, Impact better be wary of potential buyers. Because that is not a good thing. Oh no, 20 years, death count.
This is where the joke of them essentially owning themselves comes in handy.
Pretty much. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen. If you had to pick a Ring of Honor World Champion from the casting crew of known Ring of Honor guys, assuming guys like John Gresham aren't sticking around, so like you're looking at more like the not Kyle Riley's, Rhett Titus's and the Josh the Good Woods of the world, or some of the AEW guys that are not on higher echelons, like your Hooks and your Arn Anderson Jr., I forget his name. Who would you put the bottom? And it could be anyone from that group. Like, it doesn't need to be those 4 guys. It could be Wardlow. It could be Brandon Cutler if you want to get weird about it. It could be Buddy Murphy if you want to get boring about it.
I'm gonna get buff about it. Give it the Cage, damn it.
I was thinking one of the names that you could do if you really wanted to was Hobbs. I know he's a main roster guy, but just for the ability to get him more opportunities, I think Powerhouse Hobbs down in Ring of Honor for like a year could be
You're not wrong. And that might be the best thing because and this is not the whole thing about like they got another not a bigger better black guy or anything like that, but I don't know how much shine he would get now that Limitless is there.
Mm-hmm.
Because they basically had like a buff off in that very entertaining ladder match. It was him, Wardlow, and Keith. And we always talk about with AEW, they got a very interesting roster, but they don't necessarily know what to do with all their pieces, which is why Cage's name gets brought up. Speaking of buff, you're still trying to figure out where he's at. So I think sending guys like that down there, maybe even a Hook, because you need guys down there like you need Pete Dunne-ish guys down there, specifically if you're going to retain a lot of that roster. So. Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be a bad thing. Somebody like Cage going against Powerhouse House, but they already had their feud, haven't they? So,
well, I went to the the AEW roster page, and I found some guys that could make sense for Ring of Honor as the world champion. Obviously, Anthony Bowens, Long-time, big-time fan.
Yeah.
Anthony Ogogo, he needs a lot of work, and Ring of Honor is a perfect place for him. Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson both make sense. Let's see. Never Danhausen. Danhausen deserves the AEW World Title. Always.
Not before Sonny Kiss.
Oh, no. Dante and Darius Martin both make sense. At least as tag team champions. Fuego del Sol. Let's see. Hook, we already mentioned. If Joey Janela still has a job with AEW at the time Ring of Honor relaunches, you could send him down because he's not doing anything. Kip Sabian. I don't even know what's going on with him. He might be hurt. Let's see. This young up-and-comer, I think his name is Mark Henry.
It's time for the main event.
Lee Moriarty could make sense down there as the world champ. Let's see. Some interesting names, but not a lot of names that make sense. Already mentioned Powerhouse Hobbs. Like Ricky Starks, I feel like is in that interesting void where he could both be a Ring of Honor champion and the TNT champion or AEW, whatever championship he has right now. FTW title. I don't know who Sean Dean is. Captain Sean Dean. Not sure. Serpentico, he'd be decent down there. Swerve just signed. Tony Nese has just no charisma about him.
Wait, what? Tony Nese is there?
Yeah. He's 9-1, 3-0 in 2022. I do like how they have the career wins and losses. I like that. So there are options. There are certainly options to send talent to AEW's new developmental territory, Ring of Honor. It's just which ones are they going to do? I think the two most obvious are Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson. I think those two make the most sense to send down. Everyone else, like, there's always a reason not to, but most guys are in a tag team or are doing something like someone like Aaron Solo. He's there, but he's not doing anything. Like half the Dark Order, but like none of those names are going to help you with developing the Ring of Honor brand, and that's kind of the thing. You need to split the difference between needs polish, would benefit from the opportunity, as well as being a big enough name to draw people to the show. Like Alan Angels of the Dark Order is not going to be pulling people in through the door. It's just not going to happen. So don't do it. So we'll see what ends up happening here in the long run. Hopefully it doesn't take too long for them to get things going, but you never know, Marcus. You never know. Let's talk Revolution. You said you saw it. I saw it. First impressions were what, though? Did you like it?
Yeah, I dug it. Thought it was all combined with the other show we're gonna get to. Obviously, Sacrifice. I thought it was a phenomenal weekend for wrestling fans, but particularly, I think both shows certainly had match of the year candidates. This one, in particular, being for me with the tag. It kicked off with anytime you get Kingston and anything that he can really sink his teeth into is going to be good. So this opening match with Jericho, which was basically just a dog fight, I dug it. I actually liked it better than the Punk match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just I can't. MJF don't do nothing for me at this point. Don't do nothing for me. I'm not a huge Punk fan. The dog collar thing it was cool, but it's like, I don't know. It's almost kind of like he wasn't whooping the guy's ass enough for me. Punk wasn't. So maybe that's just me. But yeah, I dug most of the show. I think for me, I think the tag match. Shout out to Jungle Jack with the Luchasaurus was probably the highlight of the show. But yeah, I thought it was overall a really good show.
I thought it was fine. A lot of what I don't like about wrestling is on display on a weekly basis in AEW. Like the triple threat tag team match where it was just finisher spamming. Same thing with Moxley Bryan. Same thing with Heyman and Cole. I just like it's one of those things where I don't like this shortcut, easy bake oven wrestling style, where
Mm.
let's just do finishers and people will go oohs and ahs.
Yeah.
I don't like it. The other problem I have with AEW is they have a really terrible director. I don't know what this dude does or has done before prior to coming to AEW, but he has no sense of what should and shouldn't be shown. There was a point in time during the Punk MJF match where they were in the corner by the fans, and Punk was punching MJF in the head, but the punches were telegraphed, and MJF was just kind of bobbing his head to it. And I'm like, this looks terrible. Why would you shoot from that angle? Why would you have someone get right up into the meat of it to see how it's made? You should have had it back and to the left so like you could not see the punches being delivered. Whoever's running the director's room for AEW has no clue what they're doing. And that wasn't the only time that I saw that night. So I was like,
Yeah,
this is not good.
I like that point too because it was weird, and I think that plays into my point about the match. It felt like, and I get that MJF's the heel, but it's like you both trying to kill each other at this point in the feud. So it's like, but it felt like Punk was pulling his punches and MJF wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was weird, and but the Crimson Mask of it all. It's not like. So I was about to tweet this. He was like, the ref asking like, Punk, are you okay? Like, don't worry, I'm not Cena from back in Judgment Day 05 yet. With that match he had with JBL, but yeah, it just I think to me the best part of that match was the Wardlow of it all. Because I seen somebody reference a kind of a while back. They're kind of doing what they did with Batista with him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. So yeah, I thought that was a really great moment with the ring because he didn't even have to touch him, and that was more of a middle finger than had he actually like powerbombed him or something. So that was good. And Punk's entrance, which you retweeted, that was good. That was some good stuff.
So that was the highlight of the night because and this is how I just Marcus, you should have heard the inside of my brain. Because you would have rolled on the ground laughing. As soon as I heard the music and nobody reacted, the first thing out of my head is, you casuals.
Oh, no.
Because they weren't popping. And I'm sitting there going, oh, it's Misery Cantero, or however you pronounce it. I'm like, this is CM Punk's old Ring of Honor music. But no one's reacting to it. I'm like, flat scan, smooth brain casuals.
This is one of the rare times where in deference, like we also know our favorite version. If anybody's been listening long enough, you know our favorite version of the Punisher. You know our favorite version of Judge Dredd.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one time like the first move was the longest reference because Chad's gonna be in the audience. You effing flat scans, you cheer now. It's about like you're not the law, man. I'm the law.
I'm sorry. I know when we talk about Dredd, it's perfect. It's a perfect film. But the one thing he was missing, the one thing Carl Urban was missing, was the exuberance of Armando Santi and his response with "law." You betray the law. Law. Oh my God! What a great line of dialogue.
And Chad's not para imitating. That's exactly what.
Look, verbatim. That's how Santi does it verbatim. The clone of Dredd. Those two movies are both wildly different and wildly amazing for wildly different reasons. Like Judge Dredd is brilliant because it's terrible. Dredd is brilliant because it's fantastic. But they're both fantastic. But I digress. Yeah, when CM Punk's old AFI theme hit and no one reacting to it,
that's weird because I wasn't even watching Ring of Honor until later in his years. Never saw any of Punk stuff from it outside the highlights, and also that was my first time hearing it. I'm like, this is good. This is good. Like I'm not mad at. I'm not hearing Cult of Personality at all. Like this is really good. So even though I'm not a huge Punk fan, I appreciate a lot of what he, stuff that he does and stuff like that. You can't be mad at a good throwback. And then obviously they played Colt at the end of the match when he won. But yeah, that was That was some good stuff. And like you said, it probably deserved far more recognition than it got. But you also talking about an audience, a lot of which specifically came to sing Judas. So
Yeah. What I like the most though about Punk and MJF's intros, and we'll jump to something else here after this, is MJF came out to Cult of Personality first.
I miss.
So like it was like this great thing of like MJF tried to take Punk's thing and take it as his own and piss the fans off. Like he tried to taint Cult of
Yeah,
Personality by starting it and stopping it and coming out to his music. But then Punk doubled up and went with his old Ring of Honor theme. 5 days after the announcement of the purchase, and after MJF tried to desanctify Cult of Personality himself, like it was a great comeuppance before the match even started. It was I loved it. It was great. Um,
yeah.
that to me was my favorite match, even though the director was just a filthy casual, just like the fans. AEW's filled with filthy casuals.
Hilarious. Shout out to Meister. It was like the casuals deserve some of this stuff. Most of it.
Basically. So Jericho and Kingston is great. I've been a
Yeah.
Kingston fan for a lot of years. I don't want to sit here and say I was like, yeah, since day one, nah.
Yeah. Same
No,
here.
I'm not a new fan. But like, I would say since like 2010 Shikara, I've been a fan of Kingston. And then of course, like his brief 2 stint run in Impact, I was really happy with. Although not happy that it lasted so short, but still happy.
Yeah.
So like, I like that they're giving him a fair shake, and I hope like this is one of those times when I wish pro wrestling did more weighted tiers, because I feel like you can have 5 or 6 main guys, because like MMA gets away with it. Like you have Izzy in the UFC, but you also have why can't I think of any other champions in the UFC? Ngannou, and you also have Glover Teixeira. I cover MMA for a living. I can't remember anyone's name. Usman. There you go. Now I'm starting to remember them all. And like each guy is like a headliner in their own right. I feel like if pro wrestling did weighted classes, you could have Kingston be a headliner. Because I feel like Adam Page isn't a headliner. And I feel like they're really shoehorning Adam Page into he's a main eventer. He's really not, though. He's not a good promo. He's a mean cowboy shit. Really? Who's really showing up to see Adam Page? Like, I want an honest count. Because it's not more than CM Punk. It's not more than Bryan Danielson. It's not more than Eddie Kingston or Chris Jericho. And apparently Chris Jericho got himself into really good shape recently, so congrats. But, like, also, like, you have all these guys, but, like, Page and Britt Baker are just two personalities that I feel like aren't latching on like everyone thinks they are. And they're still pushing them because, Adam Cole is dating Britt. And
Yeah.
Paige is best friends with the Young Bucks. So, like, yeah, nepotism. And Cody even said when he started the company, I believe in nepotism. And we're seeing it. Like, these are not personalities that should be the head of their divisions. It's a very bland product in that regard.
Yeah, I understand the narrative around Britt Baker, but I've never really been into her. I think the names you go with like the Thunder Roses, the Serena Deebs, the Hikaru Shitas, and there are others on that roster. I even like Statlander. That Statlander's good.
Statlander is very talented, but she doesn't have the personality to be a top gal. She's
Yeah.
weird, but like beyond that, what is she?
Yeah. And we're gonna and I would like to develop a personality of what they've been doing with Conti, but that's mostly because they're playing off. She's playing off Jade, who's a lot of personality. So she's kind of had to pick it up. But yeah, and I think, and we're gonna get to. I think Jade's coming along. She definitely was a highlight of the show. I don't necessarily know if it was for the match, but she definitely was a highlight.
But here's the thing with Jade Cargill. I do not think she's very talented in the ring. That being said, Goldberg wasn't.
And this is from
I love
a staunch
Goldberg.
people. Yeah.
I love him. If he went to Impact today, I'd be like, put Moose, Eddie, Alexander, Scott D'Amore, Sting, Anthem, and the United States underneath him, and let him pin them all.
That's like, yeah, you think you wasn't getting no title shots back then, Eddie? Sorry.
Uh,
Oh, damn luck.
wrong wrestler. Sorry about your damn luck. But like, I like Jade. I think Jade is somebody that should not have long matches because she's not very talented. At the very least, I don't think she's very talented yet.
Yeah.
She's physically impressive. She's a bodybuilder?
Yeah, she looks like a Greek goddess. If they ever did her cast her as Storm, she certainly looked the part.
Absolutely. The problem is she's not very good yet, and they're forcing her.
Yeah.
That is fine. Like, we've seen worse, clearly. But I feel like when you're looking at who should be the head of the division, I think Jade having 7-minute match with not Jade Cargo, with Taya Conti. And Taya Conti didn't impress me at all. Like,
Yeah,
has zero athleticism. Well, she has two athleticism.
It was not good.
Those kicks she threw, man, like, how slow were they going? Like, she went to throw a back kick. I went to go get popcorn, and she finally connected when I got back. It's like, damn, that's a 3-minute kick. The match is 6 minutes long.
Like, I popped it slow on purpose too. Yeah, it was just their chemistry was not hitting. Like you said, Jade is slow and prodding and doesn't. She's a big woman that's trying to incorporate other stuff into her repertoire, but she still needs to kind of find what she needs to do in between moves and stuff. And she's getting better. It's clear. And like I said, she has the presence, the personality, the look. It's just, she's developing.
She's been wrestling for a year. Of course she's terrible.
Yeah.
Like I mean, come on. Like, even Goldberg had like 9 months of work at the power plant before he debuted in '97. So, she'll have some time. She might get really good. But the problem is fans don't see gradual improvements. So it's going to be a long time before people are on the Jade bandwagon. And like, looking at the AEW women's roster, there really isn't a lot of genuine standouts. It's a very poorly built brand. Thunder Rosa might be the only one that I would think is an A-tier grade 1 headliner.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, it's weird too because with wrestling fans, you're talking about the filthy casuals. It's one of those things where it's like either people think she already has it because of the narrative, or they don't care and don't ever think she's gonna get it. In which case, when she does get it, they'll try to spin the narrative like she doesn't. So it's this weird thing. It kind of reminds me of the whole thing around Charlotte. Like, we know she's athletic and she can go, but it's like come on, like y'all got to kind of call a spade here.
Truthfully, that's how I see Britt Baker. I think she's nothing more than Charlotte. And I know a lot of people want to say, well, Charlotte Flair's really good. She's a Hall of Famer. She yada, yada, yada. She's earned all these. First of all, you don't earn a title in wrestling. You become marketable enough to be able to promote the belt and promote the brand. That's basically all you do. I really don't like the narrative of, they so-and-so earned the belt. No. You put the belt on the most popular people. That's all you need to do. Because if the most popular and most watched people wrestle for the belt, then it gives the belt importance. It's a simple concept. So when I see people talk about Charlotte Flair, no, she's not that talented. She's just a name. She's athletic, but I've never really enjoyed a Charlotte Flair match. I've never watched a Charlotte Flair match when, that was great. So I see a lot of the same in Britt Baker. She's great because we're told she's great.
Yeah.
I never had to be told that Dean Malenko was great. I knew he was great. I never needed to know or be told that Gail Kim was great. I knew she was great. Booker T, like when I was watching him in '97 and I had no concept of improvement in talents or any type of, backstage booking, or I was like, he's going to be a world champion. I just know it. He's too good not to be. I was fucking 11.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Specifically with the that's what it is. That she's the emblem that's been placed on the car. But I don't necessarily know that's the right emblem. But again, like you said, I think that's kind of encapsulates what your point you made about is not that good of a roster. They got talented people on there, but they don't necessarily have all the tools to be quote unquote the person. Like they tried it with her name escapes me right now, who's with Vicky. Um,
Nyla Rose.
yeah, tried it with her. Then Sheeta had her run, and then she's having a really great feud right now with Serena Deeb, who was another one that if they put in certain positions, I think she could be, somebody that could really go against a face like Rosa. But I think those two in particular are few and far in between on that roster. So, you know.
Overall, it was a solid show, but I had my complaints. My match of the night was definitely Punk MJF, and I say that with this caveat: I don't think there was like a standout match of the year contender on the show. So the best they did was Punk and MJF. I did like some spots in the ladder match. Although Christian Cage nearly broke his brain and Orange Cassidy got hurt, so I really don't know why they keep doing these dumbass ladder matches. Wardlow, I don't get. Unlike Batista, who was raging with charisma, I feel like Wardlow's somebody they keep telling us is going to be huge. But he's not a great promo. He's not a good wrestler. Like, I don't get the hype about Wardlow. He looks impressive. He's not as good as Powerhouse Hobbs or Brian Cage. Like, I don't know why they're putting all their eggs in the Wardlow basket. Like, and they popped for him. They popped for him with the whole MJF turn. But the dude's 34. He's been wrestling apparently since 2014. Yikes, that's not a ringing endorsement at all. But it's like, what exactly is he going to be for you as a brand? I don't know.
Yeah,
So
well,
I have concerns.
yeah, like I said, I really dug that tag affair because it could have been, it really could have been. And I just like seeing Luchasaurus and young Jack Perry, really shine and go off the way they did. So that was really cool. I'm even warming up to that damn theme song, which is just kind of like semi annoying for me. But yeah, good stuff.
Theme song that I'm really warming up to is Darby Allin's. I like
Okay.
the methodicalness of it.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I even kind of liked the little intro video, like, why are you so crazy or whatever that old dude said to him. Why are you so crazy? And then he jumps into him. And then
Yeah, it was.
Sting flamethrowers, everything.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool seeing Red Dragon back in full form again. The Bucks are gonna do what the Bucks do. Um, like I said, I think Luchasaurus really had that crowd eating out the palm of their hand in a lot of ways, or that match in general. But yeah, it's weird now because with everything going on, like every time now I see Danhausen, I'll pop like you're in the room. Like I look over like Jack, and then you're not there. Then I just be like, I got a Danhausen side house, and then it's nobody but it's good. That the kid's good.
A Sighthausen. I love it. And that was great because it was with the ladder match he popped out, right?
Yeah, he popped out ladder match because he's friends with
Orange Cassidy.
yeah, Orange Cassidy.
And he tried to curse Ricky Starks. That's right.
You know how awkward it got to be for Orange Cassidy, whose whole gimmick is less is more, gets injured.
We're going to talk about the irony of injuries because, oh my. Someone just can't keep getting out of their own way. Overall grade for Revolution, Marcus, what would you give it?
I give it a B minus.
I'm going to give it a C+. That said, let's talk about No Surrender. I haven't been flipping through photos because I only had 2.
You mean Sacrifice?
Yeah, I have No Surrender written down. That could be why I had such a hard time finding photos. What are you gonna do? So yeah, Sacrifice. Big news coming out of this. We'll tackle this first because I feel like it's the most important. Josh Alexander's not going anywhere. Woohoo!
Yeah.
So I was getting to a place where I was very down. I was sad boy Chad. Because I'm like, Impact's main event scene is maybe the worst it's ever been. Like, Heath was fine. You got Jonah and Jay White, but they're on loan, essentially. Like, both Jonah and Jay White work for New Japan. Jonah for New Japan Strong, the American branch, and Jay White for New Japan proper. By the by, Jonah is rebuilding the Mighty Don't Kneel with one of the guys from the tag team. I forget his name.
They
But so that's
they
pretty cool.
they fumble those guys so hard in NXT.
Well, I'm hoping that they bring over the other one because I know
No.
their names. Let's see.
Yeah, chance them to that. Which one's the Mighty and which one is Don't Kneel?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Shane, was it Shane Thorne? Not Shane Thorne.
Shane Haste and something Thorne.
Yeah.
I think Thorne debuted in New Japan this past week. I think. So, I like them building up that trio in New Japan, but in Impact, I feel like Jonah really does have something. He's a big bully. And like the thing with Keith Lee and Wardlow, like I don't get what they're trying to be. Wardlow's trying to be this, suave, debonair bodyguard, wannabe Batista, and that's all I see him as. I'll wannabe Batista. And with Keith Lee, it's like you would be great if you dropped 30 pounds, bro. Just like eat some kale.
Yeah, which kind of goes back to the discussion we had last week, coming about friends kind of reaching out, talking about his health and wellness, I guess. But at this point, I'm just happy seeing that guy not being forced to have another personality that clearly doesn't fit him. That Bearcat thing was trash.
I like that nickname because he kind of does look like a Bearcat.
Hilarious.
He's got a cute little face. You want to go, oh, Keith Lee, look at that. And then he's got a big old bear body. And you're like, oh, yeah, all right, now that makes sense.
Oh, you're a full country right there. But yeah, I tell you one thing. That is my favorite theme song of his. Like they really, who am I? Yeah, that's some good stuff. But yeah, he could stand the kind of shaping up a little bit, not get too like often because I think that size is a trademark for his, but he could trim up a little bit.
Yeah, I want him to pull an Eddie, like an Eddie Edwards, and just lose some lbs to get yourself in better shape. You don't need to have the Adonis body. I'm not asking you to look like, Brock Lesnar or Davey Richards or whoever or Bobby Lashley. Just you could stand to lose some lbs, my friends. It's not shaming to say your health is important.
That's interesting too, because me and Chad have always championed Eddie with that title. It's like, wait till you turn heel and shit.
Now that he's heel, like, do you even put the belt on him? Do you want to put the belt on him? I don't know. And like, there's so many questions to answer. There's so many questions to answer with Eddie and this Honor No More group. So with that said, though, let's look at the card. Getting Alexander back was a good thing because it strengthens the main event scene, and now they're gonna wrestle at the next pay-per-view, I guess. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Rebellion. I'm still hoping that they bring in his wife because his wife is gorgeous. I mean, she's talented. I have to say she's talented now, right?
It's interesting.
She's pretty.
There's a thing that Carl Anderson always brags about, but it's actually both their realities. But we really see it with Josh Alexander.
Well, with Josh, he adores his wife. With Carl Anderson, he doesn't. His wife went out on a Twitter tirade and accused him of cheating on her.
Wow, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, so but let's be honest, are we really that surprised with Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows? Like, they scream douchebags.
The Bad Brothers.
Right? Like, they are guys who are intentionally problematic and they like to be antagonists in and out of pro wrestling. So, like, are you surprised that he would turn heel on his wife?
I guess they told us in the theme song, I sold my soul long ago. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, they're living the gimmick. Brother, they're living the gimmick. So, Alexander, you got Moose. Jay White's an option if Ring of Honor, not Ring of Honor, God damn it, I need to stop doing that. If New Japan ever lets him be an option, I think you can build up Chris Sabin. and Jonah obviously is an option, and Rich Swann in a tizzy, and maybe Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, but outside of that, I don't know. And even that, some of those guys need to be finessed and worked on. So we'll see what happens with the main event scene. But matches for Impact's Sacrifice were great. I didn't catch the pre-show. The first thing I saw was Trae Young, not Trae Young.
Oh no, I didn't see him.
So yeah, apparently I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks now.
Yeah, look it. Oh, freaking Miguel is should be arrested for all the shows he keeps stealing.
Mm-hmm.
Him and something.
Yep.
I've had to see a Jake something match in the last 2 years I didn't like. And Miguel gets better with every outing. And when he gets in there with an opponent like something, I mean, this is an all-time match for both of them, and I think an easy match of the year candidate.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, this was some damn good stuff. You had power versus speed and maneuverability, and they showed up and showed out. Like, I don't always like that meteor when I see it from Banks, but Miguel's making me dig it.
Which Banks?
Sasha.
Oh, sorry. For some reason, I was thinking of Marcus Banks. I'm like, I don't even think that's a person. There's so many generic ass wrestling names, man. Like, don't hate me.
So many Chris's, so many Adams.
Oh, jeez. So
only one Danhausen.
Only one Danhausen. Everybody loves love that Danhausen. This was Jake Something's last match under his current Impact contract. He's currently a free agent. Impact brought back Josh Alexander though, so like I'm not ruling out a Jake Something return. And if Jake Something is done with Impact, like that's another name for your Ring of Honor relaunch. Just throwing it out there. I do hope Impact goes and signs John Gresham. That would solve so many of their issues.
Please. His wife's right there. She's 26. Did you see that birthday photo?
No, but I'm pretty sure it was for her OnlyFans.
No, it was for only everybody. I'm like, I don't know how this guy leaves the house, and she's just 26. It'd be so many pregnancy housings in that house.
Pregnancy housings. Was this on Twitter?
Yeah, because it just.
No, I don't worry about it. I'm going to Twitter right now to look for it.
You feel like, yeah, I already spilled coffee. Might as well be slobbing too.
Well, I'm trying not to spill things anymore.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so let me ask this while I look for the photo, because she retweeted the photo of Jade and Taya kissing. Thoughts on I see it with the cake and
sold my soul.
Oh, look, it is for sale. Marcus, no.
Yeah, I know. We're eventually we're trying to get an abundance of money. We're just gonna upgrade our technology, but this may be a caveat.
Marcus, don't waste money. Just right click and save. She apparently was inspired by somebody else, I guess.
Okay, if she needs inspiration for the pic she's been taking, Jesus, I don't know what she's gonna do when she comes with her own ideas. But the kiss, I'm digging the Jade kiss. I think she kissed Conti or somebody else on the forehead. I like it because with her thing. I don't necessarily know if she want to go around kissing everybody because we still in and some we call it a panorama. But I like it. I like it. I mean, I'm a hater of it because Jay's got some full luscious lips, and I would very much like to be that opponent. But I think it goes along with a gimmick.
It's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing. That's for sure. All right, so we'll see what happens with Jake Something. Eddie defeated Rhino. Pretty much after Steve Macklin turned heel and then face and then heel again, or turned face then heel, then Steve Macklin represents Steve Macklin, and maybe Gunner, depending on what Gunner's doing these days.
Oh God, Come on, man. We already had the COVID stuff with Deanna. Don't do this.
Who was the other one? Steve Cutler? Was that the other one, or was that him? No, he was Steve Cutler.
He was the other racist. Oh, that was his other gimmick.
I don't know. All these Steves look the same to me.
You're like, who was the racist? No, that was his other gimmick. You sure?
So Macklin's other buddy was who?
It was
Wolf?
Gunner, him, and yeah, I think it was Wolf, the guy from Eric Ewy's old group, right?
No, isn't it Buddy Murphy's ex-tag team partner?
Wesley Blake.
Is that who it was? Wesley Blake?
Yeah, I think so.
He always looked like he was just happy to be somewhere.
Yeah, these look like the guys that would have been waiting for multiple seasons to get patched in at Sam Crow.
Like, all right, Macklin will probably get in, right? Because you know he's the dude that will roll up onto some cop's house and lay a beating to send a message. Gunner's the dude that you need to make sure isn't rolling with the neo-Nazis cooking crank. You don't know. And then fucking not Buddy Murphy. I already forgot his name. Wesley Blake. Such generic ass names. Wesley Blake's the dude that's clearing out the septic tank every other week for 4 years because they just don't want him. But they don't want to clean out the septic tank. And like every time they call him to the table, he doesn't say anything because he's just happy to be a part of it.
And then the episode he was supposed to get patched in. Oh, he's dead.
As soon as he gets patched in, he steps on a landmine and dies. And he's shooting with other members over a dog. That's Wesley Blake. Don't trust Wesley Blake. He needs a different name. Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
What a terrible name. So anyway, I could see him coming in, but I don't know. I really like the influence versus inspiration match. It wasn't like a technical match, but it was very well told with the story and like whose side is Corey with a K or Caleb with a K actually on. Like that was a great story. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good. We always talk about this guy always finds a way, even when he's not really in a position that's relevant or whatever. Because he was in such a weird place for a long time when he was on the active roster.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's back in this role, and he's really finding. I think he's found the groove with this character, and specifically with this particular part between his. I was just happy for this match because I finally deciphered which one was the inspiration and which one was the influence. So that's that was my highlight of the match.
Yeah, definitely a highlight. I really like Cassie Lee. She's she's just mm-hmm. That's it. That's all I need to say. She's just mm-hmm. I think that puts it over. Jonah and PCO. Holy God.
Kaiju. I didn't know he could do.
Do it, Marcus. You can do it. I know you want to. When two kaijus are about to go at it.
Them five.
There it is. And the crazy thing is, like, on both Sacrifice and No Surrender, the Jonah match may have been the best match on the card, and he arguably had the hardest guy to carry for a dude his size. Like, PCO is a madman. Like, the dude is pushing 60.
Hey, man.
He's 54. Sorry, he's not pushing 60, but he's not far from it.
Look, it's 3 matches to watch on this show, and I think that the 4 gets an honorable mention just because of it was better than I thought it was going to be. But Jonah, to your point, like he's another one that's had dude shows up and shows out in this match. I mean, Black Taurus and now PCO. Come on, man. And I think they mentioned it on time, and I think I'm more favorable to this commentary team than Chad, because like I said, we're coming off of D-Lo and Matt Striker, but I think it was Hannah Fan or Reinhardt that mentioned that's the most trouble Jonah's been in.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he had the match with Alexander, and that's a whole completely different problem. But PCO is a different beast in general, so he literally had to do alternative stuff to kill this guy, which I liked. Which it got to the point where like, oh no, he's just trying to kill him at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that was good.
What I love most about PCO is the dude was gone from wrestling for about 12 years or so. And then he came back at like 47. And then he got even crazier with his moveset. Like, that poor man is not going to... By 60, he's going to need a walker. And like 2 new hips. Or maybe even 3 new hips.
It's weird. It's weird because I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he's 100% like white, but he wrestles like he's Japanese.
Essentially, like the PCO is one of those deathmatch wrestlers from like FMW. He just does not give a fuck. It's incredible to watch. Speaking of incredible, Jay White, Alex Shelley got the internet abuzz. It really showcased how good Jay White could be with the right dance partner, and Alex Shelley is just one of those gems.
Stud, yeah.
It was a nice dream match, very technically sound. It might be one of those match of the year contenders. Definitely an option. It was one of the few matches that actually trended during Twitter, or on Twitter during the show, I should say. So that's something. And I'm sure this is one of the 4 matches you would recommend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not often times you see Jay White specifically coming out of New Japan and seeing a Jay White match where he's spending majority of the match on defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's played into the story of mentor mentee, tells everything you know, not everything I know. And I just like the whole stance that Shelley took. Like I'm sunning you right now, kid. Like I don't care what you are, what group you started, what era it is, you about to get this work. So that was good. Like he escaped with a win with that Blade Runner. So that was good. I could watch those 2 go again. And like the aftermath situation, we're not shaking the hand. Classic I'm calling him JF Jesus. Classic Jay White. But yeah, good stuff. Definitely go back and watch this match.
Then we had 4 straight title matches.
Mm-hmm.
Perazzo retained the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship over Chelsea Green. That belt won't be on her waist much longer. Dun, dun, dun. Tony Khan's gonna want his belt back eventually, right? She defeated Chelsea Green, and let me just say this about Chelsea Green: she's terrible.
That is the if we clip anything from this show, let that be that, because you stole that.
She's awful. Like, she's bad.
I would have put money down that was finna be a compliment.
No.
The way you saw that lead in was crazy.
Here's a compliment. You never have to worry about her wrestling for very long. 9 times out of 10, she's going to get herself hurt because she's terrible. She broke her wrist again for the 3rd time in 3 years.
Jesus.
She is bad at this job. Like, I am beyond catering to Mid Cardona. I do not know why they have her on this roster. She's not a personality that is likable. She is not entertaining in the ring. Like, Deanna Pratto comes off as very uptight and very, like, in her own, huff. Like, that whole, like, New Year's Eve huff where, like, she wasn't wearing a mask and wasn't vaccinated or whatever, and people were, like, dogging her. And she's like, well, what do you want me to do? It was just a party with some friends. Like, she took 0 responsibility. It's like, ugh. Oh, you're just you're just someone who can't take responsibility, aren't you? But at least she can wrestle. Like Tessa. Her jaw could cut glass.
Yeah.
So could her personality. But the bitch could wrestle. Like, you think about Jay White. I'm not a fan of Jay White. I feel like his face annoys me. But the bitch can wrestle.
That's a shirt, by the way.
The bitch can wrestle.
Yeah.
But I look at Chelsea and I'm like, you're not a good mic. You're not good in the ring. You don't have a likable personality. Like Alicia. Alicia's not a great promo. She's not super athletic, but she's very likable. You'll want to cheer for her. You want her to have all the success because she tries so hard.
I so want her. If every time they do one of them women's X Division matches, I mean, what the freak Ultimate X matches, I'm always rooting for it. I want her in every one until she wins one.
I just want her I want her to win a belt, even if it's like for like an hour. Even if they like 1999 WCW, like she wins at the start of the show, loses at the end, just so she can have it for that brief amount of time.
Also, that X is far bigger than she is, so that's gonna be a cute picture.
Right? That X is easy at least half of her body. Like I don't mean just like her torso and chest. I mean like from her waist to her head is the size of the X. Be the first sub 5 foot wrestler to win the title in Impact history. I would be flabbergasted to find out she's taller than 4'11". I wouldn't believe it, Marcus. I wouldn't believe it.
No, same here.
Because Eddie's only like 5'8" and he towers over her. But like, there's no redeeming quality about Chelsea Green. The only thing redeeming is that when she hurts herself, and then you don't have to see her for a while. That's a good thing. I don't want people to get hurt, but if like any reason to get you off my TV, I'll take outside of like a mortal injury. Like if you keep breaking your wrist because you're dumb and you don't know how not to break your wrist, all right, I'll take that. But if like you collapse your lung and nearly die, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather suffer through your matches than have that happen to you. But if you're just gonna break your wrist because you're dumb, go have fun.
It's interesting. We don't have no personal beef with her. She just don't. She don't do nothing for us. Like it's just she's like I do. No, her existence annoys me. Her literal human existence annoys me.
I know her existence doesn't annoy me. Her existence in wrestling annoys me. If she were to go be a housewife or a mortgage broker or a CEO or a line chef, all that'd be fine. I don't mind that she exists in the world. I just mind that she exists in this company because she has no redeeming qualities. But this is the first time I railed against individuals that they've signed that I think have no redeeming qualities either. So, like, the Good Brothers. I'm not a fan of some of these hires, and I'm not going to sit here and be quiet about it. Just because she's a chicken married to Mid Cardona doesn't mean I'm not going to come after her like I come after the Good Brothers.
Right, but we got some mild justice with the Good Brothers. We'll get to that.
Yes.
But justice should have been in the name of this pay-per-view, but it came all the same. But yeah, I kind of wish this whole champ challenge was like exclusively for us to get those forbidden door situations like we did with Thunder Rosa instead of this, because it came off like we're clearly not going to be able to get her in the title match against Mickey after tonight. Let's throw a bone. And like, of course she went for the Ring of Honor title, because why would she be going for the Reigners? But yeah, she got in there. Somebody for Deanna to face got in there, got out of there. So
I would really like to see them do, especially since travel restrictions are better and AAA and Impact have a working relationship. I would love to see like Lady who is that? Lady Shani, I think her name is. Yeah, I think that's right. Maybe even bring up Fabi Apache. I think that'd be dope. I don't need to see more Chelsea Green trying to wrestle. I've been watching it for 6 years, and I still don't get it.
I've been watching it damn near a decade. It's in the same place it was when she first started.
Right? She had like a mild moment when she went crazy and did the whole hot mess thing, but like I didn't like her then either. I was like, oh, cool. She's like, pretending to be Britney Spears. Like, whatever.
All that. No, 100. See, now it clicks. Now it clicks. And I always appreciate a situation like that just for the sheer commitment. It was trash, but just for the sheer commitment of it all. But yeah, she peaked.
Yeah, and she's never found that groove again. Speaking of finding a groove, Tasha Steele's got her groove back.
Ayo.
This match both made me happy and mad at the same time. It made me happy because, all right, let's see what Tasha Steele is going to do as champion.
Yeah.
Made me mad because, like, why are we booking this like it's a WCW main event from 2000? Just have Tasha Steele get a surprise win on Mickey. It's not a complicated, process.
I think I'm going to be the one that end up having to give Chelsea a compliment after we basically just steamroll her. Respectfully.
Don't do it.
For the purposes of what she served for Mickey's psyche in this match,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought that was really good. And I don't know if you agree with this. Tasha came out with I'm about to cash in this Money in the Bank energy when she came out,
Mm-hmm.
and just went after Mickey, and kudos to Mickey because she sold it with the whole. It was down to the point where she was like really overly distracted, but then like you said, she was legitimately injured, so I guess that also paid dividends. But I think to your tweet, you were like it was a little bit of over interference
Mm-hmm.
when I think just the whole her being off was her being distracted was enough, and even though she was kind of revving back into gear, she was still off. But also, I gotta give kudos to Mickey again because like we talked about, like she's not necessarily my cup of tea in the ring, but for some reason, and I think figured out during this match, I'm like, I think I've been missing what she's been missing was the hardcore in the country. She's been country, she's always country, but she's been missing the hardcore. I'm like, you have your punt kickers, Mickey's the cunt kicker.
But the funny
Like,
thing, Marcus, is she's always been a little hardcore because she used to do adult photography.
and also in one era of Impact, she shout out to Howard Saint. She took the train, but she took the train.
She was trained. She was. Not. I'm gonna stop talking now.
That guy had somebody legitimately called police on that situation. Like what? Jesus Christ,
Are
fat
you
scams.
kidding? I was watching a
Like,
wrestling show and someone fell by a train.
like, like it wasn't even done well enough to warrant that. So when it on tape, but anyway, I digress. Like Mickey going back into her bag with the just like literally she's low blowing women. I dig it. I dig that. Like when she turns the aggression up, she works for me. Even the moves kind of turn up for me. So I don't, I'm like I kind of been missing this during a whole reign. But if it came late, it's fine.
I'm kind of interested to see where they go with Tasha now. I don't know if they're going to do a return to Mickey as champion very quickly.
Yeah,
Personally, if they got rid of Mickey, I wouldn't bat an eye at it.
me either.
People are like, yeah, she's a legend, but she's still as good as always. And I'm sitting here going, but she isn't. And she kind of never was. And she was only good comparatively because of the division and roster and era she was in. I don't know why they're all questions, but,
Careful, Chad. You're lining up too many facts.
Right? Uh-oh.
Hey, this is not good.
People are going to come for me. The problem is there's not a lot of depth on the women's roster either, like the men's roster when it comes to headliners. Like you have Cassidy and Jessie McKay, who I think as an act are headliners. I think they're very charismatic, very personable, very likable, very hateable, depending on how you promote them.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see Tennille Dash in the main event. She's talented enough in the ring to do it. Madison Rayne has the personality, but she isn't the worker she needs to be. Giselle Shaw is tall and beautiful, but she's very uncoordinated, at least currently. Lady Frost has all that you need, but she's very fresh, and you need something substantial to be a main eventer, at least, when we're talking about the women's division. Perazzo's got all you need, but is almost kind of overdone at this point.
Mm.
Like, we've seen Deanna Perazzo for nearly 2 years in the main event scene of the women's division.
Yeah.
And, Tasha Steele's fresh blood, but now she's in the Moose situation. Who are you putting her with?
She needs an opponent. Do you throw against what's the name? Stokovich?
Oh, Slamovich?
Slamovich, thank you.
No, because Slamovich is a heel, and like Lady Frost, she's very new. This would be one of those opportunities to call, hey, Melina, you want to come play?
Because you saw, I think you might have referenced that article when that Gail Kim was talking about names. She was like, I want them to bring in Ember Moon, man.
Mm-hmm. I think Ember Moon, if you can get Mia Yim, bring her back as Jade, although that'd be ironic now with Jade Cargill. Those would freshen up the division, give them some depth, and would give Tasha Steele some fresh opponents to go with in time. Because I think you can get a month or two out of Mickey in a rematch.
Yeah.
But then what do you do? like I look at Taya Valkyrie, I look at Ember Moon and Mia Yim as obvious options of people you can bring in as potential new headliners in this division, or in Taya's case, going back to the well. But I think with Tasha Steelz, that would give you a good year worth of matchups.
Yeah.
So I feel like you need to invest some money in the women's division going forward, especially if you want to get Tasha Steelz the best opportunity to prove herself.
Damn, I just thought about it because in my mind, narratively, this spot would have maybe eventually went to Hogan had she stayed, potentially. But I was going to ask you, is she definitively signed to AEW? Because how much of a interesting story that would be for her to come back and kind of spew that thing. Like, the only reason why you got it was because I wasn't here to get it.
Well, when you talk about Hogan and Tasha Steelz, I think the only question that I have for you is, what you talking about, brother?
Oh. Never miss an opportunity to bring up Dick.
How can I not?
We're coming for you, Hogan. No, Book. No.
I just love how I can't remember her name. Damn, I can't remember her name.
Kiera Hogan.
No, Sister Sherry. I love how as soon as Booker dropped the line and dropped the hard R, or no, it's a soft A. He dropped the soft A. She just turned around, kind of like hugged him a little bit, like, oh, it's okay. And he was like, what did I do?
Oh.
Thankfully, he's given out a plethora of N-word passes in his career.
Oh, God.
That was how he made up for the "We're coming for you."
Oh, my God.
He gave out N-word passes.
This.
So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
When it comes to women's division, though, I think that's kind of the route they need to go.
Yeah, give our girls some competition. Like, we don't, particularly with the names we just mentioned, because I would like to imagine somebody's listening to us, because there's evidence that they have before. I don't know why Lady Tapper just came across my mind, but no,
Lady Tapper.
No.
She fought in MMA once, and it didn't go well.
I don't know why I'm not surprised, but yeah, just get our girls some competition. But it was a great win for Steelz. That was a lot of people's highlight of the night. It was cool to see so many people on social media give her props. So that was a really good moment.
So that takes us to the tag titles, Violent by Design and the Good Brothers. I fucking hate the Good Brothers. I don't know why they ever signed those assholes in the first place.
The fact they told us they was almost champions for 200 days, most of which I would imagine they really just didn't defend those titles, or that's the narrative I want to go with. I know they had title defenses, but I just wasn't happy that they existed in the first place. So
even if let's assume they defended the belts every 30 days, they weren't defenses that anyone cared to see. And that's the truth. And let's be and here's the thing that's even more shocking. They've actually held the belts for nearly 350 days combined since they joined in 2020. All time, they rank 5th in combined days with the Impact World Tag Team belts. LAX Ortiz and Santana version ranks 1st with 662. Beer Money ranks 2nd with 514. The Wolves rank 3rd with 413. Did I say Beer Money ranked 5th? I meant they ranked 2nd. I'm looking at the wrong numbers. The North ranks 4th at 401, and the Good Brothers rank 5th at 350, with the Machine Guns ranking 6th at 279. And the Hardys and the Decay, Styles and Tomko, and then the Bromans.
Styles and Tomko and Bromans. Talk about throwbacks. But yeah, I did appreciate the story of, like, they lost these championships. Violent by Design did at last year's Bound for Glory. Mm-hmm. And it's been in the craw of the group ever since. Slamversary, yeah. And it's been the sticking point ever since. And what a better pairing to go up against these two idiots than the vengeful Naked Morat and Doran. Um,
When in trouble, call. Wait, what was it? No. Who? What was the lyric of the song? When in trouble, call.
call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a line. It's like K possible or KW or something like that. Ugh. Or maybe it was what was Kim Possible's little buddy's name? The tech guy called DW. Is that what it was?
I want to say he was, but the catchphrase was "What's the sitch?"
Kim
Possible.
Possible lyrics.
Impossible, and her best friend would eventually turn boyfriend, Ron Stoppable.
Oh, Eric Matthews. When you want to page me, it's okay. Let's see. Maybe I was thinking of Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, man, I want to go back and watch that now. Add it to the list of 50 things.
Right behind 30 different viewings of Gargoyles.
Yeah. I think you still got to get caught up on Resident Alien, who is having another banner season, by the way.
That alien cannot just stay out of trouble, can he?
The guy that plays the sheriff.
I like him.
MVP.
He's great.
MVP. Just put on like one of these great emotional performances. It wasn't exactly Why He Don't Love Me Man from Fresh Prince, but for sci-fi, it was close. Yeah, just good stuff. But I didn't know that like Joe Doran really wrestles in legitimate cowboy boots.
Yes, because he's insane.
I'm sitting there like that is just asking for the F your ankle up.
But let's be honest. If Joe Doring is wrestling in cowboy boots, he's not going to risk effing his ankle up. The ring is risking getting effed up by his ankle. You know?
Yeah. And to be fair, he does. I mean, he's very, low gravity because he's not leaving his feet much. But with that situation, it's just run wrong move, man, and you are permanently tweaked for the next set of taping.
I do like putting the belts back on Doring and Young, mostly because I like Doring. He's a world's strongest tag team determination league champion on 3 different occasions with Muto, Swama, and Dylan James, who is James Rainier. Or is it Rainier or Radnier?
It's
Radine.
Shout out to you Smallville fans. It's not Ranieri, is it?
I don't catch that reference.
The guy that was over the coat with Addison Matt Keith Raniere. That's what I thought.
Ranier. Yeah.
That's what I thought his name was.
No, James Radine. He was a Evolve wrestler for a while.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a perfect. I mean, we talked about it like he needed more shine in the original. But I think when they lost, it was Young and Jake, right?
No, I think it was Jake and
No. Was
not
it
Jake. No, it was Joe Doring and Cody.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. My bad. I got it mixed up. Yeah, he's Cody. So it was Doring and Joe. Yeah, this is the right combination because I just
I got to get the white people chart for you again. We don't all look the same. No, it was Doring and Rhino.
Oh yeah, there it is. I forgot because that also played into it. They kicked Rhino out because he took the pin.
Mm-hmm.
Or they eventually kicked him out because he took the pin and didn't really get as aggressive as they needed him to. So that played into it as well, which I did. And I just like Cody as like he's killing it with that flag.
Mm-hmm.
And you could use it obviously for a weapon. So that's the thing. Needless to say, it's not a lot of people that's going to be stopping EY and Doran.
No.
But if you got 2 people that can do it, again, throwing their hat in there, Swan and Mac, who I would imagine are going to be put off for a while, considering the fact that Swan clearly wants to kill Eddie.
Man, that is going to be a feud I can't wait to see.
You know how much that hurts me and Chad because I got the clip saved. I'm taking back what's mine. This is basically me and Chad anyway. Can't hold me down.
I am the fire. Whoa. I thought we were now Chris Bay and Jay White, though, doing skating dancing moves. I thought we evolved. I thought like Pokemon, we evolved to the Jay White, Chris Bay lookalike
We
skating gif.
we, we oscillate. By the way, that's still one of the greatest things I've seen in wrestling in the last 2 years. Oh my god.
I'm just gonna Google skating gif with Jay White and Chris Bay's name and see what happens.
God, I hope it comes up because I don't remember if I saved it or not. But that was, the look. I don't know who found those guys, but you the real MVP. Um, but yeah, they finally got the belts off those idiots. May they never get them again. If they feel like they need to go to AEW, I will call them a ride share. Um, call them a ride share. Feel free to go do your thing. But yeah, VBD. It felt like the titles came home.
Yeah, and
But
we'll see what happens with this long term because like I feel like they only ever take the belts off of the Good Brothers to put them back on the Good Brothers.
God, I hope not.
I know. I bring up painful thoughts.
Yeah, because it just felt like the titles came home, both in that instance and actually, because to your point on the last show about the former WWE people, it felt like the titles came home in the last three instances, back to the end with the influence, with Steels, and then with VVD.
Mm-hmm.
So back on real Impact talent.
Speaking of real Impact talent, is Moose ever gonna get real Impact talent to wrestle? It took me a while, but I finally found the GIF.
Nice.
Yes. So Moose and Heath had a really good match considering who was in the match. I still don't know if these cats are going to be what you want them to be as headliners. Moose is doing the best he can, but he really doesn't have the best talent around him, and it's hurting his run. And now he's going to be shoehorned into a match with Josh Alexander, which I don't want to say shoehorned because they've been building it up since October, but if you're trying to make him into a main eventer on his own, I don't think his run has worked. And I blame a lot of that to do on the talent he's worked with, yes, but also he has not gotten good or as good as he's needed to be as a promo guy. Now, Eddie's not a good promo guy, but Eddie's a great worker. So, like, there's that turnoff. Like, Eddie can work with anyone and it'd be a main event match. Moose has proven that he can't work with anyone and have it be a main event match. Like, he wrestled Morrissey and it was good. It was fine. I wouldn't pay $20 for that match. I wouldn't pay $20 for Heath and Moose. So, Moose right now has a reputation of having fine matches as champion, but not anything overly impressive. Do you want to see Alexander take the belt back and reestablish the main event scene as must-see TV and Impact if it means Moose doesn't get to have the reign that maybe we both think he deserved? Or would you rather keep the belt on Moose until Moose can turn it around, knowing full well you can either go JBL, which is a compliment because JBL turned his title reign into something that was very impressive, or he could go Jinder.
Yeah.
And Jinder had a very long title reign that people keep forgetting he had. Which direction, I don't want to say which direction do you want him to go because obviously I know, but which direction do you think he would go in if they kept going the course?
Ugh. Batney.
Yep.
That visual. I want to say it might end up like Jinder for the fact that we can't necessarily guarantee that he's gonna get the talent because when JBL did it, I mean JBL had Eddie, Cena, Mysterio, Taker. You know what I'm saying? The names kind of rattle
Big
off.
Show. All right, so not all of them are names.
Yeah, so but those names kind of rattled off and eventually we know how it ended. But with Moose, like I think it'd be good, like you said, if he had the right guys to cultivate it. But that's just not happening right now, and I don't know who they're gonna bring in. And honestly, as much as we praise Impact and they deserve a lot of it, they they get some questionable people, and we'd be looking like, was this something that like a quick cash grab, or did you really think this through? So it might end up going the way of Jinder, and I think they probably should allow Alexander to reset that scene.
I'm on board with the idea of resetting this thing with Alexander, but I think if you have enough time and maybe you're not worried about pushing the title change until Slammiversary, you can still salvage Moose's title run. But I don't know how you do it without some malarkey and shenanigans. And I feel like if at this point the Impact World title cannot be involved in too many shenanigans. Like I would be fine with like a situation where, like maybe Alexander's wife, who I think his name is Jade Chung, too many Jades. I think her name is Jade Chung, and if she gets involved, because she used to be a wrestler in the WWE, albeit briefly for like ECW. I think you could build and continue and develop the Alexander Moose feud from Rebellion in April to July, because that's only 2.5 months, give or take. But if you do it wrong, you end up killing whatever hype the match may have, because this is going to be Moose's one money feud going forward. And I don't know what else you can do with Moose that would satiate the desire to see more from his title run. So you may have to chalk the title run up as not necessarily a bust, but as lackluster, and pray that it doesn't drag down Moose when he loses it, because it does happen. Like sometimes when guys lose the belts in a way that isn't really conducive, it hurts them. I think it hurts Rich Swann when he lost to Kenny Omega, because it felt almost unnecessary and dare I say, rude. Speaking of rude, he was another one. When he lost the NXT title, he got dropped down.
Yeah, and it's so interesting too. That's why, as much as we're kind of on the fringe about what's going on with Eddie, because we don't know where it's going, but there was so much truth to his why.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we went into a pandemic. Everybody was scrambling. We got on the even playing field. Everybody liked the fact that you brought in these guys, but you allowed them to run over us. The guys that were supposed to stop it couldn't get the job done, and then you never called in your ace to bat.
Yeah.
And he wasn't wrong. Because, like you said, that situation with Omega felt unnecessary, and like the whole narrative of the company had to go around the narrative like Omega could lose. And it hurt Moose, and it certainly hurt Swan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in hindsight. I mean, retrospect, it works for the Eddie promo. But if the company got ran through by a whole other company just so a promo could be more legitimate, it was not worth it.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, Marcus, any other thoughts, questions, considerations that you want to touch on before we head out?
No, man. These, go back. It was look, it was a good weekend for big wrestling fans. Lot of stuff out there, but this was two stuff that I wasn't mad at. Why? It's funny because I had to get caught up on like 5 impacts from No Surrender, and I didn't know Sacrifice was even happening because I haven't watched a couple impacts since like 2 impacts behind. So I didn't know what was happening until I went on the Nerd Club Twitter and saw that Alexander re-signed and kept reading and was like, this weekend. It's like, what? And then I had to scramble and try to get that in before Revolution. It didn't happen. But yeah, it was cool to get back into the swing of things. So yeah, quality shows. Congratulations to Vader. Going to be posthumously finally inducted into the Hall of Fame. And yeah, that's about it.
So with all that being said, we're done for the night. RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP. We are on Marcus's Twitter. We're jointly on there, apparently, according to my verbiage. You can find Marcus on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. It's True Penny Show on Twitter. Go check out Marcus' other podcast. New Japan's doing some stuff. They're doing the New Japan tournament. So I'm sure Marcus and crew will talk about that eventually. I'm on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. Check that out. We'll be back next Monday for more wrestling action. Be sure to tune in, twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground around 10:30ish, depending on when we decide to get going. And for all of us over here, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking it out. I am just jibber driving all the way through this. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night.